Good morning, welcome back to MDV TV. My name's Tom Huff, coming to you from Maison de Velo in Reigate, down in Surrey. Today we're going to talk about look, essentially the Look Huez, which is Look's new lightweight frame and bike. We've got an example here, but to take us through it is actually Terry from Look. Hello Terry.
Hi, how you doing?
Very good, thanks, very good. First of all, the Look's a brand that we've been carrying since the start. We've always loved it because of its history, the artwork that's used with it, and just the brand in general always screams French cycling, which is essentially what our bike shop's about. But a lot of people don't know the brand and don't know the history. Now, for instance, I know that they invented the clipless pedal.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
They also were the first carbon frame in the Tour.
Yes.
It's stuff like, are you able to give us a bit of history behind?
Yeah, so you've kind of touched on two of our key milestones really. So Look themselves have actually been producing composite products since 1951, where they started off with ski bindings, and that's where the natural progression from ski bindings into the clipless pedal came from. And that was
so they took that directly from skis, the actuation of just flicking out and the sort of, that's going to work on a pedal.
Absolutely. I mean, people at the time, they were already, as we know, using toe straps because you get a better pedal efficiency. However, toe straps themselves aren't particularly efficient, so that's where the clipless pedal really took over. And when they launched it, it was in 1984. It was the first Tour that they were used. The Claire team.
The artwork again, and the history there, one of the best jerseys ever.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Eno went on to win the Tour that year. The following year, everyone in the pro peloton was riding these pedals. So it's a great kind of start for Look, but we haven't only just been making pedals. Only a few years later than that was 86, where we won the Tour on the first carbon fibre frame.
Was carbon being used in skis at that point?
Yeah,
where did that come from?
Not the exact type of carbon we know now. It was a composite. Over the years, naturally, our composite technology has massively improved to get to the carbon where we are today. But it was a form of it, yes. And even those early bikes in '86, they were a carbon Kevlar mix. So it was more of a composite rather than carbon we know today. But nonetheless, it was a carbon frame and the first to win the Tour in '86.
And again, like the pedals, was it almost an overnight? Following year, everyone's getting onto carbon.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So Look themselves have always been, you know, by those two products alone, at the forefront of carbon fibre and composite technology, and kind of always pushing the boundaries of what is possible. And if it weren't for a brand like Look today, you know, you could argue we wouldn't have the bikes we have today.
Exactly, which is why we love it.
Yeah.
So this is the new Huez.
Yes.
Now, in a later edition, we're going to look at the Huez RS, which is the super lightweight one. Remind me what does the RS stand for?
So the RS Racing Sport. So it's effectively the high or ultra high mod version of this particular product. So the Huez, the name, because we wanted to create a lightweight climber's bike, yet make sure it's efficient. It almost made sense to call it the Huez. You know, Alpe d'Huez is the most synonymous climb in the Tour's history. It was that year.
You done it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not in a particularly fast time.
None of us ever have.
I know, but incredibly synonymous. And you know, if you remember that year that Greg LeMond won the Tour on his carbon Look, where him and Eno won the stage hand in hand. You know, that was 30 years ago last year, I believe, if I'm thinking correctly, if it's 86, 87. So naming this product after that, we're steeped in the heritage of that climb, thanks to those days with the Claire team. And it's a lightweight climber's bike, so it works perfectly.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Who is this aimed at? Because you've done a lot of aero work recently. The same as the whole industry's gone for aero. I've had an aero bike recently. I've actually just switched it out back to a climber's bike. But with aero wheels, which is like an oxymoron, but I love the look of aero wheels. I think they look really good, and I always think your bike's got to look cool, number one, and then
100%.
worry about the technology later. But other people are reversed. So you've gone back to this is the classic geometry, two triangles, and no real aero shapes on there. What was the thought behind just going back to a climber's bike, back to pure lightweight?
Well, a couple of things really. So one of them is demand. We're certainly seeing a sway, as we do in the cycle industry, for different different types of bikes. You mentioned the aero there. We've gone through a kind of a period where aero's really been the key focus and everyone's been interested. We're starting to see a swing back towards that more traditional bike design, you know, nice simplistic, sleek, clean lines. Yet with this product, although it ticks those boxes, it's not traditional underneath the paintwork. It's very much, as Look always have been, pushing the boundaries of innovation. And that was actually really what led the shaping of our tubes. So we call it here optimized inertia section.
Right.
So what that refers to, because we wanted to create a lightweight climber's bike, yet it needs to be efficient, you need to have the correct shaping of tube to give you the right stiffness to weight ratio. So that dictates, in this section here, it's almost box shaped, so you've got some flat edges, whereas at the top here it's almost perfectly cylindrical, perfectly round.
I know what it's, Terry, don't tell me. I didn't know any of that. Earlier you talked about high modulus, high mod. That is something that, you know, I also know about naturally, but maybe some of the viewers don't. Can you go into that a bit? Because there's different levels of carbon that are used in different areas of the bike. And it's actually not just one carbon that comes out of a factory. There are different price points of carbon.
For sure.
You could make an amazing bike, but it'll end up costing you 50 grand. You know, the perfect carbon in the world. And that's not going to, well, actually probably would sell.
Probably.
To someone. But you've got to make it commercial. So what are the different levels of carbon and what are we getting? So this is high mod, and then the Huez RS is ultra high mod. What are the differences?
So what we're saying there, and for any bike manufacturer to claim their bike would be 100% high mod or ultra high mod wouldn't be true.
Right.
Because for the same reasons you've literally just said. So to get to an ultra high mod, the benefits of an ultra or even a high mod carbon fibre is its stiffness to weight ratio. So it's insanely stiff, really, really light, but on its own it would be very brittle. So you'd be left with a product which, yes, it's very light, yes, it's very responsive, but it wouldn't be particularly comfortable. Which is why we've got a mixture in this model of 4 different types of fibres. We're only using the high mod fibres in strategic areas to get those stiffness benefits.
Right.
So reduce the overall weight. So areas like your bottom bracket, up the front end, where you really want that responsiveness, you want that stiffness. Whereas in areas such as here, we actually have quite basic fibres in the grand scheme of things. So known as 12-ton force fibres and 24-ton force fibres. And that basically means the lower the ton force, the more compliant they are.
Right,
so that's how we.
Or is that just to, you know, is that part of commercial price?
Comfort, no, absolutely. It's all about the performance of the product rather than trying to hit a price point. So by using those particular types of fibres, as well as building in compliance, you're also building in stability. Because we're now in the realms of lightweight climbers bikes. One of the downsides of really super lightweight bikes is they can feel quite twitchy.
So what I mean, when we're talking about super light, because the Huez RS is
it's really like 730 gram frame, so it's super light.
And the build that we've all seen, we've had it in the shop previously already. We haven't got it today because it's absolutely tipping down. So we've chosen another day to do the ride on it, etc. But it's coming in a
5.9.
5.9 with the whole build.
So
that's unbelievable. So I was interrupting you about the stability there. So even that bike at 5.9 has got the stability of something with the more commonplace.
We have, so with this model we have 4 fibres. With the introduction of ultra high mod, that makes us 5 fibres on the RS version, but it still has those same heavier fibres in that section there and in the
because they're needed.
Because you want that stability.
Right.
You want that all day comfort.
It's almost a different material. It's almost got a different function for different areas.
Completely. So if you were to look at the scale of ton force, starting at 12 up to 90, 90 being your ultra high mod, which we use on the RS. The benefits of that, like I've mentioned, you're massively reducing weight and increasing stiffness at the same time. But you want to limit how much you use. So we use only 10% of that frame uses ultra high mod. We then have 14% of it is high mod. The rest of it is a mixture of intermediate, high resistance, those lower ton force fibres. Because that's what's going to build in the durability, stability and ultimately comfort. You know, if you're spending the kind of money on these bikes as you would be, if it's not particularly comfortable, you're not going to particularly enjoy riding it.
Don't care, Terry, I want to be fast. I couldn't care less. At the end of a long ride, no, that all goes out the window.
It does.
Because we went to the Alps, a big group of us from the shop all went out to the Alps, and it was Yeah.
Did you go up to Huez? You done the Marmot ride?
We did the Marmot ride, but we threw the sets in as well for a bit of fun.
Of course.
And
what's 108 miles?
Exactly. And it was all fun up until we started the Glandon was awesome. Went down perfectly, easy peasy. Got the sets. Yeah, great. So all good fun. Then fatigue started to come in. You just think, I wish this bike was comfier. I wish this bike was comfier.
So up to 2, maybe 3 hour rides, then comfort's maybe not an important factor for some.
Right.
For a lot of people it would be, but for some, it's like you said, you want that wow factor, that snap, that excitement, that speed. Past 3 hours though, if you are doing the Marmot or you're doing sportives across the UK, the Dragon Ride is a great example of a long day in the saddle.
Yeah.
You need comfort, otherwise that fatigue really does have a massive effect on being able to even finish the ride, let alone enjoying the ride.
The head game, as soon as you lose the head game, if you're feeling tired and like, I can't do this anymore, and that's all coming from how you
exactly. So we could have quite easily actually made our RS bike lighter than we have, but we didn't want to compromise on those ride characteristics that people now come to expect with the Look branding.
Now, so how does that work so I assume Look are going to be in the Tour again. I know that.
For sure.
It's what happens with the weight limits? I know there's talk about getting rid of them one day, but it's obviously going to come in under. How is that made up to the normal weight limit? What do they do?
I don't know. It would be the same with every team. So there are other bikes out there who will also come in under the limit. So I don't really know the secrets they use. There's loads of talk, isn't there? Lead weights in the seat, using ice so it dissipates and disappears by the time you're out. Have you not?
No.
Yeah, using ice. Because it melts, you hit the limit when you start, but when you get going, it's gone. So there's loads of little secrets, but I don't know what our team would use.
Well, thank you very much, Terry.
Thank you for your time.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you in, and we look forward to seeing you as RS. We're going to get one of the shop riders to go out and take it for a spin-up box. But until then, brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We don't shake hands on this show, Terry.
I do not.
It's too formal.